Welcome to Mercado's Monday Night Wine Tasting. Tonight we're doing beers.
We wanted to introduce the new seasonal beers for the winter season. Not all of these that we're going to be featuring today are winter beers, just the last two. We also wanted to show the other beers that we will be having throughout the year. Fantastic beers, amazing flavors.
First one is the Einge, the Jahrhundert. This is a Bavarian beer. Einge is one of the oldest breweries in Bavaria, one of the originals.
In Bavaria, actually, it was established in about 1878, so it's over 100 years old. And the Jahrhundert, it is their centennial beer. It was produced during their 100th anniversary, and it's still being produced on a yearly basis, not just on a seasonal one. This one has a little bit of a slight sediment at the bottom, but very delicious beer. A crisper lager style that is better suited for different meals, especially right now during this cold winter season. You can really pair this with a nice mushroom soup. Just different foods that are a little heavier, but still has that crispness to cut through.
Definitely. My favorite beers are definitely Bavarian beers. There's a couple that I really like a lot, but this style of beer. And it does go with a lot of foods. It goes with a lot of Bavarian dishes. So the next one we're doing is a native lager. Now, this native lager, this is a Florida beer. And it's a small brewery, so it's not one of the mass-produced American beers.
The brewery itself was actually started recently, just 10 years ago in 1999.
This is in Melbourne?
Melbourne, Florida,
Okay.
yeah. Mr. Finn, I believe, started the brewery when he came home and wanted to introduce smaller craft beers to the Florida market. And he actually uses German techniques and German ingredients, such as the different grains that they would use to make the Jahrhundert from Einge.
So it's kind of like a German-style lager as well, right?
Yes, lager.
Native lager, of course. Hence the name. And this one, similar profile on the nose.
Now this one on the palate, you get a little bit of a hoppier, a little bitter aftertaste.
Yeah.
Not as creamy as the Jahrhundert.
I would say the Jahrhundert, the Einge, is hoppier than this. This one has more of a citrus note going on, which I get
Very
on some
true,
beers.
very true.
But wow, that's a nice beer. I'm gonna have another sip of that.
Now the next beer that we will be tasting is actually the first of our winter beers. This beer in particular is the Avery Old Jubilation Ale. This brewery was started in 1993 by Adam Avery, and he started off with 3 of the flagship beers, and one of them being Ellie's Brown Ale, which is a really fantastic beer. This one in particular came about 5 years after he started the brewery in 93, and this one uses 5 different malts, and that's what I really love about it, because it's different components, different flavor levels, and it's amazing. It uses a special roasted malt as well as a chocolate and a coffee malt as well. So you have a deeper, richer flavor, body, and just overall an amazing beer.
Yeah, nice color on it too. Now this is an ale, and so you'll typically find ales are going to be a little bit heavier than lagers. You have a difference between top fermented and bottom fermented. Bottom fermented, basically you have the extra element of the oxidation, which adds some different notes to it. And
very true. And actually with the bottom fermented, it takes a little longer. With top fermented, you usually take about I believe 5 to 8 days just for fermentation.
So that is basically the difference between ales and lagers.
Yeah,
is
pretty
top
much.
fermentation and bottom fermentation.
And then the lagers usually take weeks to ferment, because you have to put it in a very airtight, secure fermentation vat and put it in cooler temperatures, because for lagers, the type of yeast that are used die after the temperature reaches 55 and above, or 50 and above. So you have to keep it cool, and with the cooler temperatures, it's a longer fermentation.
Now, and lager also, if I'm correct, I think is a German word that means like to warehouse,
Yeah.
or to lay down. So hence, it takes longer to ferment.
Again, you're talking about very creamy palate, a little thicker.
Extremely.
You have that great hop flavor component as well.
Now the darker color of this is because of the roasted malts. I mean, if you toast the malts, so you roast them longer, of course they're going to get caramelized, and hence that flavor, that I don't want to say burnt. It's not a burnt flavor,
Caramelized.
but it's the caramelized flavor goes into your stouts, into your beers, and I believe, I may be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but I think when stouts came along, when Guinness did their stout, I think it was a mistake. I think they actually, the monks, they roasted their malts too long. They toasted the malts too long, so they got too caramelized, but they made it anyway, and it turned out to be,
Fantastic
a lot of things, especially in wines and beers and different liqueurs and alcohols. You'll find a lot of these things that have changed over the years were due to mistakes or things that they didn't know was going to happen, but they just went with it because it tasted good.
Yeah. Now, the next beer is actually the last of our winter beers, but it is also the heaviest and the deepest. The stouts is another type of ale. Again, you're going into the bottom fermented, but you have a richer, deeper flavor. With this one in particular, you have roasted chicory. It is the Dogfish Head Chicory Stout. Chicory is another perennial plant that is actually used in substitution of coffee in a lot of different places. And this one is also going to have a little more of a roasty flavor, deeper caramelized aroma, and it's just an overall amazing beer.
Now, chicory does not have caffeine in it, though.
It does not.
Hence, the substitution for coffee in some places.
Yeah, and also this beer, the way they produce it, aside from using the roasted chicory, they also use organic Mexican coffee as well, so it adds another different layer of flavor.
So does this have caffeine in it?
It does have a little bit of caffeine.
It tastes like, wow, that has like a chocolatey, coffee, really rich.
Again, it's that roasting of the chicory. It is the actual coffee that's used in it as well that produces this flavor component.
What would you, if you were going to pair this with some food, what would you do it with?
Ooh, definitely some stews. Beef stew would work perfectly.
I was thinking
with
like
this.
heavy dishes, a nice kind of cold weather dish.
Definitely.
Listen, thank you very much for joining us for this beer blog. I just want to let you know that every Wednesday now we're going to be having Fabian, who plays phenomenal guitar. He's going to be setting up outside, live music, great flamenco, great flamenco style. He plays all genres of music.
He likes to mix it up with a little bit of Latin music and jazz. It's a really nice beat, amazing environment. And also right here for our cold winter nights, we do have warmers. So we will be obviously sitting guys outside as well.
This is Monday night, and everybody knows it's Monday night. It's cold out right now, but I'm actually a little warm.
And also join us next week. We will be doing Spanish wines.
Yes, we will be. It's going to be fun.
Cheers.
Salud.